that notification. There it is. All right. So we're doing it.
Hi, everyone. Happy Boxing Day.
Oh, not that boxing.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's when the cats play with the boxes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Ahsoka is currently in all my boxes over there.
Oh, our cats went crazy.
Thank you for the great gift of a cardboard box.
Yes. Forget all the catnip toys and treats and the giant tower I lugged up the stairs. Nope. The boxes.
Oh, for sure. It's the same. We have new kittens and they're the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone.
Hi. How are you people?
I hope everyone remembered there's a show tonight. It looks like at least 3 people have. So 3 people on screen and 3 people in the chat so far remember.
Yeah. Hi,
we
Mike.
Definitely all didn't have collective amnesia about there being a show tonight. We have notes and preparation.
Yes. Spencer says Adrian.
Well,
some over there like.
Some of us are more prepared than others, but we'll roll with it.
We made it through Christmas. We're good.
Exactly. We survived the holidays.
And Hanukkah, as some of us are.
Hanukkah, Christmas, almost New Year's. We're so close. And we have a New Year's thing happening that we're also planning in the background. So funny enough, I've been laser focused on that. And I was like, oh shit, we kind of have our own thing tonight that is also very New Year's-y, because last week was our Christmas special. And now we can talk a little bit about like what we actually got for Christmas. More importantly, though, we're going to talk about our best of 2022 and what we're looking forward to in 2023. Maybe we'll even make like a resolution or two. I've got a couple in mind. But yeah, and that's kind of how we're running tonight. It should be pretty like relaxed. So if everyone's had like a stressful time with your family, in-laws, whoever, travel, snowpocalypse, hopefully this will be a nice work. I mean, I know people are working. You were working through all this, right? Ashley, tell us what it was like in the heart of retail in Boston during a 3-foot snowstorm.
Okay, so luckily where I am, we didn't get a lot of snow. We got like a dusting of snow. It was mostly just rain and horrendous wind. So I was really, really lucky, but it's also really freezing cold. But it didn't stop everybody from getting, and I don't want to sound sexist, but this is like the holiday trend where you have the men actually doing their shopping and the women just getting the stocking stuffers away. So the mall was pretty nuts and managed to do what we could. But yeah, like a massive fight broke out at the anime kiosk in the center of the mall. And apparently, like, this was Christmas Eve. And I didn't work Christmas Eve, thank God. But like people, I guess one of the parents kicked a child or a young teenager in the head and there was blood and
Jesus.
People, it was just out of control. Like, I guess kids were fighting at the kiosk and the parents stepped in and it just got into that. And I'm like, I am so glad I wasn't working for this. So retail is stressful this time of year.
Oh yeah. It's miserable any time of the year, and then it just magnifies during the holidays. Meanwhile, I can't get everyone is obsessed with Jeff in this little hot tub situation. I can't even. I'm like half listening because the comments.
Look at him. It looks perfect.
Yeah,
I was thinking of it as like the Bugs Bunny hole, but now the way he's just like sitting back, it's totally a hot tub.
Oh my God, I love it. He's very relaxed. He does not work in retail and did not have to referee a fist fight.
We
have to deal with my own relatives.
Yeah.
Always fun. We had a surprisingly relaxing Christmas because we intentionally made it so that we didn't do anything on Christmas. We did Christmas Eve, and we always go to my sister's. Like, she's the home base now that she has kids, but she came to my parents' house, which is much closer to where I live. So I had a 20-minute ride. My husband did most of the cooking. My sister literally brought bread. We were like, bring the dinner rolls. Like, we don't want to, and my mom and dad hosted. Jason did the cooking. My sister brought the kids, and I was just kind of there, like, which was wonderful. And then we went home, and we've been doing nothing but like playing video games, watching movies. We watched Glass Onion. We felt very fancy.
That. Oh my gosh.
Good. Love it. Try to avoid.
I like Knives Out better, but it is a fun ride for sure.
I like this one better than Knives Out.
It was great in the theater. I'm glad I took the opportunity to see it.
I'm so excited. Okay, cool. I have that to watch later.
I've been sitting on it for like a month or over a month since I saw it.
You're like, I want to talk about it. Damn it.
offline, Jeff and I, you and I have to talk because like I just loved it so much, and I've already
Oh,
watched like
fun.
all the wraparound content. I gotta tell you too, this is how sick we are. We also watched Barbarian on Christmas Eve because we were so sick of Christmas movies at this point. We watched all of them, and we've been meaning to watch Barbarian, and it was on some like people already have their year-end lists at this point, and we're like, oh right, the great horror lists. Like we've already missed several of them, but Barbarian was on there. It's like, oh, we've got to see this movie, and I love Justin Long. I have like this really inappropriate crush on him, and so we're like, all right, let's tune in and see what it's about. Holy hell, I had no idea what this movie was going to be about. I won't spoil anything except for the fact that you have no idea what the F is going to happen. Like, if you try to keep the spoilers on that one, just like go in. It's a woman who shows up to an Airbnb and someone's already there, which that's a scary enough premise to begin
Nope,
with. But like,
I'm totally good. I've stayed at an Airbnb once, and I was still, because of that, I was like checking closets, checking doors, vents, everything.
I don't even understand how something like that happens. But like that was not even the like that's just a great setup. But it like takes such a left turn. And that's actually one of the things I really liked about movies in general this year. I've been shocked by a lot of things that have happened in movies. I think people are taking big swings because you have to figure out how to break through and like get buzz.
But I also feel like, being stuck at home for the last X amount of months with COVID and everything, people have had a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And a lot of like, okay, well, what if I went on vacation and this happened? Yeah, it's just.
Well, I don't want to ever do an Airbnb again, but that's also because Airbnb is trash. We learned that during like 2022 with we found out, what was it, them buying up residential real estate and commercializing it and then jacking up the prices. Now they're more expensive than hotels with none of the amenities. And I was like, oh, terrific. Right. So this is the Uber situation. It's like, now it's cheaper to take cabs. So I take cabs in New York City now. Ridiculous.
Let's see. Sarah says she loves our shirts.
That's a good one. I haven't worn this one in a while. And with you coming up on 40, Ashley, I felt like it was apropos to start the year.
I almost wore my I think is it a white one of those? I don't know. I have the same design though.
Yeah.
Is it like the ringer tee? Because the one at Celebration, they had the ringer tee, and I got one of those.
Yeah, I'm not a big ringer tee fan. I like loose sleeves, but sometimes I end up with them. But I don't think I picked one.
Ricker's Gym.
Yeah, that's very cool. This was the 40th. Was it in 2017? This shit was everywhere. We did a 40th anniversary trading card set. I mean, it was for everything. And now at the 40th of Return of the Jedi coming, they're going to have all the new merch. Like that's actually something I'm really looking forward to in 2023. Is like,
and me
exactly.
Most importantly, because
here's the thing. I haven't been through it. Like I'm 42 now, or coming up on 42, and I realize it's still fresh. Like turning 40, I didn't have dread building up to it, but you kind of do. You take that stock of like, well, where am I at 40, and am I doing everything that I want to do? Am I where I need to be? Am I where I should be?
That's like the hardest thing right now for me. It really is. And at the holidays, my family didn't let me forget a few things, so it was, sometimes you got to make your own way. Yeah, you got to make your own way and figure it out. So I've been taking a lot of stock on things and how to get past all that and get to the good stuff. And I'm still kind of learning, but get there.
Well, that's the thing, we all are. And I think we often judge ourselves on these like paper, like check the box things.
Yeah, like told, where should we be by this age? What should we be doing by this age?
Have kids, make this amount of money. And it doesn't qualify for like happiness or fulfillment. Like I have plenty of friends who make way more money than me. Like I have one friend that I won't give away a name, but he makes a lot of money. And he was all alone on Christmas. And it was a combination of
Elon Musk.
But in a way that like was, not a good relationship with the parents and no partner, and he's straight. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, the extra wrinkle of being gay on top of it. But like, it was one of those things where I was like, no one to spend the holidays with. It's so sad. And then I was like, I guess you could have flown somewhere exotic and had like a little vacation or gone skiing or something. But like the money couldn't solve the sadness. So like oftentimes we judge on like these very quantifiable things. And
right now it would solve mine. So
true. I will say the people who tell you money and you can't buy happiness don't realize that money can prevent a lot of problems. So there's that. Yeah.
And give you a trip to Disneyland. Just saying.
Yes. Well, we got to figure out the 40th next year to do the trip, like the VCN Ashley Brienzo 40th birthday situation. It's not Return to Saturn. That's 30. Is there something for 40? I don't remember what it is. It's something. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
Yeah,
I used
I
to
feel
know
like
this.
with our generation, it's probably becoming a Return of Saturn because like the extended adolescence of our generation.
Oh, seriously.
So that like my parents at 40 already had 2 kids and own a house and all that stuff, and I'm like, don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, my mom had 4 kids by the time she was 40, and I'm like,
wild.
I have 0. My brother has 2. My sister has 3. I'm good.
Everyone's making me crack over here. Spencer says 40 is good. Sherry, I'm at the age where I'm just happy to make another year. Sherry, we're not that old.
Sarah says, girl, just wait till 45. It's brutal AF. Yeah.
I will say my knees do hurt more.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Yes, we do love each other, as is all of us. We're very lucky. I was telling someone, this was on. People were asking like, "What are you doing during this crazy week? Do you have work? Do you have this?" I was like, "Well, I have work, but like my days off or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, on Monday I've got my YouTube show," and they're like, "Oh yeah, that thing's still going, right?" And I was like, "Yes, and it's a Monday night
Why
thing."
Why don't you watch it?
You really have to like love Star Wars. And I was saying, this has been really fun. We've been doing this for 6 months. Met some great people. We have these like awesome people who tune in every week and chat with us. Like, how cool is that? Like, how lucky are we?
Yeah,
awesome, so
producers.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. I have a whole new circle of friends, which is not something that at 40 you'd expect, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, check out this graphic that Jeff has totally made up for us. It's the fireworks over Batu.
I can't figure out how to point.
Yeah, it's hard to do sometimes to get all twisted around. I got it easy. I can just go like that.
Yeah, there you go.
But seriously, it's probably one of my favorite graphics that you've done.
That's a composite of 3 photos I took of fireworks over Batu. By the way,
that's very cool.
I think that helped kind of give it more of a surreal look.
If you haven't been to Disneyland yet on a night where they have fireworks and just stand right in front of the Falcon and just watch them go off, you get this view, and it's stunning. Like, you don't get that in Hollywood studios, sadly, which is really terrible.
All about proximity.
Yeah, it's the closest thing, and you've got the castle like right behind the spires, so they're just like right there. It's perfect. So I hope we get there in a day.
That's on my list. I definitely have to get to Batu West.
It's something you need to kind of just hang out for in Batu, as opposed to being elsewhere in the park at that particular time of night.
Like I said, I've been there 3 times and I've never been in front of the castle for fireworks. I've always been right there in front of the spires. So
it's a little calmer than some of those other areas where all the people tend to congregate, but it's that whole Star Wars vibe is just on point. And like I said, you can get some amazing photos in general, but you can get the cast member photo pass guys and gals, amazing people, to take some great photos with fireworks in the background.
So good.
That's always a cool option.
I feel like everybody's always bugging them for it, so I'm just over there with my camera like, oh my god, this is amazing. So
I'm going to manifest it for 2023, despite all the other things happening. I just typed it into our Google Doc, Batu West 2023, meetup of some kind, definitely with Ashley.
If I have to sell some plasma, I will get there.
we'll figure it out. We have time. Because my thought is, because it's Southern California, like, we could go in the fall. Like, there's no need to be there in the spring or the summer.
You're not worried about extreme weather quite so much.
No. Our biggest problem would be if we were leaving here. Like, by the way, like, I hope everyone is safe from like the vortex. Like, I didn't leave the house Christmas Day or today because of the cold. Like, it's bad. Hope everyone's doing all right. Actually, I have 2 friends who moved to Buffalo 6 months ago, and I was like, "Girl, you made the wrong decision." And they had like 4 feet of snow, and this is their second blizzard, and they've been there for 6 months.
Wow, crazy! I was pleasantly surprised to walk outside to 80 degrees yesterday here in SoCal, so that was pretty surreal for a Christmas day, and very much an extreme opposite to elsewhere in the country.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. I got to tell you, every time I see these like shitty job posts for like out in California that make like a third of what I'm making now. And at some point it's like, the weather's going to just tilt it. I'm just going to do it. Leave. Get it. This is terrible.
I'm seriously considering something too, because I'm about to get laid off on Wednesday. So I'm like scrambling, and even
Come on,
Target's not hiring now. So
people
I'm
out
like,
there in VCN land need to
Yeah. If
offer some
you're
jobs.
looking for someone who knows fandom, super detail oriented, artist, retail
yeah,
experience, all that stuff, hit up Ashley in the comments. Even if it's temp.
yeah, just
We have
something.
nothing remote where I am. I've been keeping an eye out.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, I would gladly, if there was anything remote, I would totally do it because, I just need something flexible with art and travel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
that's the hard part.
but my mother's like, don't say anything about you needing to travel because you need someone to hire you because nobody wants to hire if you're not going to be there. Oh, I'm sorry, Zoka.
Yeah, that's the trickiest thing. I think the evolution of work too, as we get into 2023, is still going to be blended, but
Yeah.
they're pulling back on the flexibility more and more. And in some ways, it's a way to like remove people. Like I was reading somewhere where it's like the call back to the office was just a way to get rid of headcount because they're not going to replace those people when they decide to leave. And you then don't have to lay people off if they decide not to come back. So it's this, it's all a trap. It's terrible.
Yeah. But everyone's like, oh, everybody wants people to work and that everybody wants to hire. But I go to these places and they're like, no, you're not what we're looking for. Or it's the end of the season. We can't hire you. And I'm like,
yeah,
there's a lot of that happening, which is why I'm trying to manifest like 2023. We actually just hired 2 people at my job, which is going to be super helpful for me. They start on January 3rd or whatever that Tuesday is or something. So we desperately need the help. And it is a little long overdue, but we will take it. So I'm like, okay, hopefully that is setting the right path for 2023. So that's also our wish for everyone tuning in, right? Like I know people make resolutions and make plans for the next year. If people want to share any of those either plans or like wishes or whatever, I think the more people know about what you want to achieve in your life, the better chance you have at achieving it. Like I would often tell people like, I want to make this type of career move, or I want to do this year, or I want to do this, like whatever this goal is. And if you can share that with other people, they'll 1, see if they can help you, and 2, help you be accountable to it as well.
Right. But I also hear like a lot of things like, don't tell anybody what you're doing, make your moves in silence. Well, it's like, well, if you're part of a community,
to an extent, you need a network. So
you need a network. So
yeah. I know I remember furlough and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And like I think I called every person on my phone and I was like, you got like 10 minutes to chat. And by the way, like everyone was super, aside from the fact that people needed human connection, everyone was like super happy to chat with you about like everything that was going on. And people sent my resumes into all sorts of wacky places. And yet I still somehow ended up working on Star Wars. I'm telling you, it is a tractor beam. There is no escape.
It's meant to be.
It is a little bit. And with that in mind, we do want to get to Star Wars. I know this has been a weird and tough year for a lot of things. We were talking about this before the Zoom started. It's been a hard year for everyone. But we want to take some of that levity, the fun stuff that happened in 2022 and do a little recap. Also, because we missed the first half of the year with you guys. We weren't with you from January to June. So, we've got a lot to cover.
And that was like prime time.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff that happened.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah,
it's true.
If we go chronologically, the beginning of the Star Wars calendar in 2022 was Book of Boba Fett. And while I don't think we're not gonna do a proper ranking. We're not gonna talk about like what we liked best or worst or any of that kind of stuff. But I wanted to pull out like highlights from like the things that happened throughout the year. So starting the year is Book of Boba Fett. I think that show suffered from the expectations that people put on like who's Boba Fett, and because of that it got off to sort of a sour start. And then everyone was like, oh, the Mandalorian stole the spotlight, and there was that whole episode and a half where he kind of wasn't there. I really liked those episodes.
I did too. I hate to say it, but I really did.
Know. And I actually, what I loved about the show, though? I loved Ming-Na Wen, and I can have more of her in literally everything. I know she's already in Bad Batch, which I'm excited to see more of her in. And she is going to be back for, I guess, Mando season 3 is what we're hearing, right? So my feeling is you have lightning in a bottle with that lady. Like Ming-Na Wen is hot. Like she is, I think something that all of the fandom agreed on was like a high point of that show.
A fan. She's a true fan. She's one of us. So she's not going to let us down. And she has such a commanding presence in the Book of Boba Fett that I feel like she just totally, if you want anyone to be Boba's right-hand person, it's Fennec Shan, like
Oh,
across
yeah.
the board. No matter where she shows up, she's number one.
Great character. Very, very
Love her.
strong.
Yeah.
Like
plays it
even
really
when she
well.
showed up in Bad Batch, it was like, damn.
Yeah. She's an interesting character. She's been around through multiple time periods now, because Bad Batch would be the start of the Empire.
Yeah.
So she might have been around during the Clone Wars and, prequel Republic time period as well, because she's pretty seasoned already in Bad Batch. She's certainly not new. So in theory, she's kind of like Ahsoka, where she's like been across the multiple time periods and probably has some kick-ass stories. I would actually love to see, how they talked about like a bounty hunter show, like of some type, following around the bounty hunters across the and you could put it in any time period. She's someone who could float through. We already saw her kick ass in The Mandalorian. She's great in Book of Boba Fett. She's in Bad Batch. Like, keep bringing her. Yeah, I assume she survives until like the sequel time period. And the lady doesn't age either. Ming-Na Wen is 80 something years old. Looks amazing. Like, it's unbelievable. She's in her early hundreds, still kicking ass. So,
oh my gosh, she's
I love
amazing.
her. Yeah, what is she really? She's like 59 or something, right? Like,
she's
still like,
I think she's like 52. Let me double check that.
She's going to be like 43, and I'm going to sound like an asshole, but like, no, I know she's like ageless. Yeah. No, she's great. I want more of her.
Oh no, she's 59.
There you go. I was right. Okay.
Whoa.
I knew it was big. Which I gotta say, like,
for 59.
Yeah, these Gen Xers know how to age. Let me tell you, that generation was just they. You know what it is? They were like very laid back and just let it all roll. Like they're just kind of enjoying it. I just love her tremendously, and I hope we do more with her. So I felt like she was a real strong point of Book of Boba Fett. What did you guys think of Book of Boba Fett? Like, what were your favorite parts?
Rancor.
Yeah.
I just wish we would have more of the Rancor leading up to the final bit with the Rancor, and more of the Rancor keeper, because Danny Trejo was something to be cherished in that show.
He's such a lovely person. Like he loved being in Book of Boba Fett so much. Like listening to talk to my cousin at Rhode Island Comic-Con about like being on that show, and when he got the call from Robert Rodriguez saying, "Hey, you want to be in Star Wars?" and he was just like, "What?"
Yes, say yes. Yeah, what's the role? Yeah, exactly. Just do it.
Sign me up. You don't even have to give me an actual name. I'll do it. Yeah. So he's just a sweetheart, and it's he kind of gives the Rancor like, and everyone's like, "Oh, Malakili."
Right.
Danny's character just kind of gave him a reverence, like, okay, Rancor is more than just a monster in a pit. There's a whole thing that goes into training them, and so
you kind of get a better understanding where Malakili felt.
Yeah.
Based on Danny's, interactions and
true
knowledge that he was passing on about it.
What was your other favorite part about Book of Boba Fett, Jeff?
Let's see. Definitely not the Scooter Gang.
I didn't mind them, but I get it.
I was a fan of the flashback stuff a lot. But I wish they would have continued it a little bit more consistently through the show. Although it was kind of a weird way to just like, oh, he's having these weird dreams. But the Boba Mando stuff was great. It started out really strong with the Tuskens, and that was probably some of my favorite stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But
again, it gives a whole grounding level. Yeah.
Yeah, a little inconsistent. What about you, Ashley? What did you take away from Boba Fett?
I liked how they made the Tusken Raiders more of a people, like an actual tribe, instead of, oh my God, there's these evil sand cannibals in the desert and they killed Anakin Skywalker's mother and they beat up Luke Skywalker, and it just kind of gave them a little bit more of, I don't want to say humanity because I don't think they're human, but also
humanoid.
Humanoid.
Yeah.
Also having Troy do continue the sign language and with the Tusken Raiders. Yeah, it was just really
Academy
really cool.
Award winner Troy Kotzer.
Yes. So that was really cool to see.
Tusken Sign Language.
Amazing. He's in my DMs from back when he did that one little stint on The Mandalorian season 1. So I was able to message him because now his DMs is closed, I'm pretty sure. I was able to write him and I was like, oh my God, congratulations on your Oscar. And then the prior message was about me getting him photos from like 2019 or some shit.
Oh my gosh.
I felt very fancy in that moment. I was like, oh, someone won an Oscar. I don't know him, by the way. We've DM'd, but that's cool. Yeah.
That was
good. I'm glad you remembered that because I completely forgot about that. And that's one of the problems with there being so much content, right? Like I was looking back again got my little list open over here. David Pasquini, being the major domo. How could I have forgotten that? Because I'm obsessed with Amy Sedaris. As a gay man, Amy Sedaris is in like my top 10. Like Amy Sedaris is like she's the queen bitch, right? And that show At Home with Amy Sedaris, David is on as like the knife salesman. And so the two of them together on screen in this show, we were screaming our heads off. Other people were like, oh yeah, that guy's funny if you know who he is. But if you know the Amy Sedaris reference.
And he was also on like Strangers with Candy too, like way back in the day. So I remember him from that.
Leilani was talking about how much fun it was to be on set with him or around the set, not necessarily, I think her character was in there somewhere, but her and Amy, him and Amy, she was talking about, they were, always making everybody laugh.
Amy's
that sounds like so fun. Oh my gosh.
I gotta meet her again. I met her at some like essentially a convention for crafting, like 15 years ago, 12 years ago, some shit like that. And she signed my DVD of the Strangers with Candy movie. And she put like a ridiculously inappropriate quote on the cover. I'll have to share that for an off-air situation, but it was great.
Oh my god.
To dig that up.
Clerks 3, her cameo was amazing in Clerks 3.
I still have not watched that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You can just see that scene where she's with Randall and Randall's doing his little mansplaining to her. That's just by itself is amazing.
I'll have to look that up.
It's such a good movie.
Spoiler alert. Not very much, but
such a good movie.
Went much deeper.
Understandable. All right,
it's great. It's so much fun with her and her, just
and it's cute that they hit it off, like the major domo and Pelimoto. It's like,
right,
I wouldn't.
The combo no one knew we needed it unless you knew who the actors were.
But he's had a big year being in Book of Boba Fett and being in She-Hulk. Like just like as soon as he started talking in She-Hulk, I'm like, oh my god, it's the major domo.
I will say, as I think about sort of, we'll call it surprising guests, Jennifer Beals was in Book of Boba Fett and fully wasted and killed. Yeah. So what are we doing with that? That's the kind of thing that I get angry about. I know. Right? Where
I was really disappointed with that.
Yeah, and it was her birthday the other day, so of course, like Twitter was blowing up about the character, and everyone was like, "What's going on? Like, why are people suddenly all up about Garza Fwip?" And it was like, "Oh, it's Jennifer Beals' birthday," like that. And everyone was saying, like, "We wanted more of her. What the hell?"
Yeah. Oh my god, all that fashion and just wasted, like absolutely wasted.
And her hot friend, I was very upset. So whoever that was, Marlon Aquino, Okay, so moving on from Book of Boba Fett, because we have a lot of content to get to, you guys. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. Obi-Wan Kenobi was the next big show, which I liked. I would say my number one thing that I actually liked was something stolen from Rebels, and I kind of hate it, but I kind of love it, is the split mask. I just thought it was really interesting seeing it on screen, and it made people think about Rebels. So even though I thought it was inferior to the Rebels execution, I still loved it. And I know that doesn't make sense, but that for me was great. And of course, Bonnie Piez coming out swinging. I am like Team Baru crew. Meeting her in real life, like I nearly came to tears. I love this woman. If you need to watch the Nexium a documentary, season 2 hit HBO. It shows how she escaped the cult and helped take down Keith Raniere and everyone. Like, do yourself a favor. Like, if you need some viewing during the Christmas to New Year's break, everyone, like, go watch the Nexium cult show on HBO and watch Bonnie Piez escape a cult and help bring it down. Like, she's a bad bitch in real life too.
Don't mess with Baru.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was also horrifying because she was like trapped in that cult for years, along with lots of other people. That man went to prison for racketeering and sex trafficking and all this stuff, underage sex with a girl. That's the R word. Like it is a hot mess, that situation, and she helped bring it down. It was her. She got her husband out, and then their best friend, and then the best friend's husband, and the four of them put together a documentary. So in real life, like she's incredible. Yeah.
And it was so cool to meet her at Rhode Island, and thank you for bringing me over to the table to talk with her, because she's just so cool. So
amazing. I have Rhode Island Comic Con on my list, of course. And I was going to say, as we convention together, we all need to go in a group. So whoever, like, I wanted to buy an autograph and a photo from Bonnie Piaz, and I was like, Ashley, get in here. So like Ashley's in the picture too. So we were able to like spread the love that way.
That was so cool.
And we had a few people that we saw at Rhode Island. That was a blast. So yeah, but Book of Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, Jeff, top item from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Go.
Vader in general, but he had some hiccups here and there that weren't my favorite, but I really enjoyed seeing Vader kind of just man about town being an asshole,
Yeah. He killed some people. That was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. I mean, it was a true introduction to the character again, a reintroduction. So Vader was my main thing. I did like some of the interaction between Obi-Wan and Leia was unparalleled. That's something I enjoyed
so
probably the most from the show, was really just little Leia and her, even though she couldn't run very fast, but she was hard as hell to catch, things like that.
Yeah. Who knew she would be the breakout star? By the way, who knew all the kids this year were going to blow up like
great,
phenomenal.
Yeah. I don't, they tell you not to work with kids or animals, and yet like it delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Leia and Vader are my two main things.
Yeah.
Luke was underused, but kind of the focus, especially in the trailer.
Yeah. I knew we were going to see none of that kid. That 3 seconds of him doing that, I was like, that's all they filmed. And that's fine by me. This is not about Luke. Like, yeah.
Luke has his whole first movie. It's totally fine.
Yeah. That's the thing. Someone was like, should there be a Darth Vader TV show? And I was like, yes, 6 movies. There's 6 of
exactly.
them.
You got enough Vader.
And TV shows.
And Clone Wars. Yeah, and Clone Wars. Like I was like, no, there should be no more Vader content. There's a comic book. Go read that if you're that starved for content.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, tell me what you loved about Obi-Wan, because I know you loved this show.
I loved Obi-Wan. Okay, there were some things where I felt like, okay, it could be tweaked. I won't get into the bad stuff because I would rather talk about the good stuff.
Agreed.
Vivian, Lyra Blair, amazing kid, wonderfully talented. Her bond with Ewan's Obi-Wan, like, it's kind of gave him a little bit of hope and reminded him, it's like, okay, I've been shut off from stuff for so long. I've been in my own head for a while. It kind of gave him something else to care about other than just like obsessively watching over Luke from afar. It kind of woke him up a little bit. I also really, really loved the fact that Obi-Wan got to clear the guilt away with Anakin or Vader, because before he was like, oh my God, I destroyed my friend. I left him to die. I cut off his legs. I helped turn him to the dark side. And when he kind of absolves Obi-Wan from that by saying, Anakin Skywalker is dead. I killed him.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it was like, and then he goes, then my friend is,
truly
my friend is dead. My friend is truly dead. And that was a neat little callback. But it just kind of, it helped clear the chakra and clear the blockage out.
Yeah. And
it allowed him to reopen himself to the Force.
Right.
And my God, having Liam Neeson show up at the end and be like, what took you so long? I was here the whole time. So that part was a really cool way to end it on. And
Liam.
I thought the character arc of Obi-Wan was really well done, because I was worried about, when you know where a character already is and where they're starting, and it's like, what's the change going to be? Like Leia basically saved him. Like he saved Leia on the mission, but like Leia restored his faith in the Force and in like the power of the light side in general, even though she's not really a Jedi. I mean, she becomes a Jedi later, but she's like a child in this. And it gave him more of like a broader sense of purpose.
It also kind of helped her figure out her role in the rebellion. Because she learned how to be like covert ops and sneak around and do things very undercover from being rescued by him.
Yeah. And all the other rebels she interacted with along the way.
Exactly. So how important it is to your child, and you learn about all this stuff and how people can live or die hanging on a thread if somebody says the wrong thing, and she learns how to keep secrets, and she learns what's important for to fight against the Empire. Those were huge things that she learned that pushes her forward in the story in the Star Wars universe. So that was a really nice arc for her as well.
Got to be quick on her feet.
Yep.
A lot faster than she can run.
Run faster.
Yeah, well, yeah, literally quick on her.
Literally quick.
She talks their way out of the stormtrooper encounter pretty well,
Oh, totally.
She's a good little liar. I love her.
Yeah.
Liar Leia.
I've always loved Leia, but like, who knew we were gonna love little child Leia? Like, sometimes a precocious kid is like, oh, this is gonna get annoying very quickly.
If you would have said
that really well
before, like in some point in 2019, let's say between Celebration and the release of Mando, if you had said that your 4 favorite characters from the next properties are all going to be under 10 or 12, yeah, I would have been like, you're insane. What are you talking about? How is that a thing? What? No.
I was like, is there a toddler version of this show coming? By the way, there is. There's that Young Jedi show that's coming next year.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Or Young Jedi.
Well, we have young Andor, we have young Leia, we have young Luke, we have Grogu.
Yeah.
We have the gang, as it were.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. There's a little bit of Star Wars for everyone, which I think that show also gave us.
Young Din too. I forgot about him.
Young Din. I will say Leia being such a surprise and so awesome. And we had no idea from the trailer she was going to be a big part of it. We did know we were getting Inquisitors, and I thought they were good. I thought they weren't as good as Rebels Inquisitors. But I will say the coolest thing about Obi-Wan for me personally was our show debuted like right during the Obi-Wan premiere, basically.
Yeah.
So our show went live or beginning of June, and like our like 3rd episode was like a review of what was going on in Obi-Wan. So we were in the moment, and we were like looking at Connect to Rebels, because our whole premise of this show is like, look how Rebels informs the rest of the saga, and there he is, the Grand Inquisitor and the 5th brother on screen, like, causing havoc for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like
all this Rebels related content keeps flowing out of these things that they produce, which is amazing.
We couldn't have written it better. So totally. Like for us, like we got very lucky. The timing of our show and everything, like, and it was a great first. I think it was also a great first series to cover, right? Because if Boba Fett were on, we would have been like, "Oh, this got nothing to do with us," but it's a good show.
Let's talk Rebels.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And by the way, that'll be the day when we turn on the Rebels episode and we cover the episode. That's always me. I'm always like, "Oh, let me remind you of this story that has nothing to do with any of the characters that were physically seen on screen." Yeah. But I think people tune in for the nonsense because we've all watched the show, right? We're all kind of on the same page. All right, so that was
people who haven't, but it's good to kind of
some more than others, but
get a little more in depth to things and get people thinking about what they normally wouldn't have been thinking about as watching it for the first time. So,
and we watch all the wraparound content. I can't tell you this. There are times when I was like, this is a job where it's like I got to watch the show, watch the wraparound, do my own research, check my own back history, like and I'm like, oh, did I work with this person? Like, there's the stuff that goes into the Google Doc. Like, there are times when I was like,
you're so thorough.
Thorough. A lot of effort into that, but one of the great things is all the wrap-up shows that people produce that help kind of pick up the little nuanced things that you may not have noticed otherwise.
And even Dave Filoni doing recent interviews, like speaking with like behind the scenes about Mando, and what he's said at Celebration about what he plans to do with Ahsoka.
Nice.
It's amazing, and it all ties into this.
Oh yeah.
Like this is better than we could have ever hoped.
Luckily we have a ton of content to cover, right? And that actually brings us to the 3rd show. Actually, no, there were 4 shows this year. Tales of the Jedi was the next one, and then it was Andor. So Tales of the Jedi was pretty quick. I wouldn't really call that a full-scale show. We got 6 shorts that probably added up to about an hour of content, hour and a half of content.
They averaged about 15 minutes, let's say.
Yeah, roughly.
It was about an hour and a half.
And sort of half of them were Dooku, half of them were Ahsoka. By the way, there's no shortage of Ahsoka content anywhere in any form of storytelling. And I don't think these 3, for me at least, the Ahsoka ones really did anything for me. But the Dooku ones, oh man, I did not know that I needed content about Count Dooku.
Yeah.
And now I want a live action movie and like a TV series. They were great.
Linchpin episodes too. So much, in like pulling those pieces together and filling that gap that like what happened here or what
happened to Yaddle.
That as well. Again, that's
the content we didn't know we needed, and there it is.
And that's what it is, right? Like someone was saying, I don't care what they give me as long as it's good. And, I think that's the right expectation to have, right? Because if you go in thinking,
exactly
I want Boba Fett to be a badass and like kill all these people, and it turns out that he's smarter than that, you're going to be disappointed. And I think that's what Boba Fett suffered from. You want from certain thing from Obi-Wan Kenobi and you didn't get it. You're going to be annoyed by it. Whereas
you can't have a character be Clint Eastwood and not say much and just kind of have a very gunslingery mentality and then go in and actually do the opposite of what you think it's gonna.
The Mandalorian Din Djarin is the new Boba Fett. Like he's what Boba Fett would have evolved into if Boba didn't take this particular journey, right? Like that's how I understood that to be. Here are the two different ways in which you could have gone. And now even Din though is actually reevaluating where he is because he has the dark saber. I mean, he might have to run a planet. By the way, no one's realizing that accidentally.
He was raised in a cult.
Like, realizing that he was raised in a cult is the other problem.
Yeah.
And he has
so it's like you have to reevaluate your entire life and also save these people. So
that's what season 3 is going to be about. Not to jump ahead, but into the 2023 season 3 Mandalorian season 3, right? Like Din Djarin has a lot that he's having. Like he already has this child that he didn't ask for, but he's saddled with, and he has now realized that without him, he was like, oh no, I want him back. He's actually chosen the child now. Like it was thrust upon him, and he was told he had to take him. Now he really wants Grogu, and like
and
the child chose him as well. So
so it's reciprocal, which is
good. Chosen family.
Chosen family.
The best kind.
Family is the people you choose, right? Like that's a big thing. So
I'm learning that more and more every day.
and it's an important lesson I think for all of us too here in the fandom, right? Like if anyone, because we're probably all like a little bit weird. Like I'm sure our family, when I was telling my mom and dad about like my job, like my sister's an engineer, that's very easy to understand, and I work in Star Wars is what they like. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we make costumes, but it's not actually for the movie. We sell Halloween costumes. They get it, but like there are times when they're like, what do you do, and why are you in this weird space, and why are you on YouTube? And and I was like, Google my name and see that I'm like interviewed by like fan sites and shit, right? But like because we're all kind of weird, you can imagine us not fitting in like the normal whatever the structure is that's been placed, the box that we're in, right? We don't really fit, but we have each other, right? I did a podcast last week, Star Wars Geek Girl, and she was telling me that she moved across the country and didn't have any friends, but there was a local Mando Mercs meeting, and she went there, and she's like, oh, I knew a bunch of them from Twitter, and I had like a built-in network of 25 people. I was like, there you go. Like the Star Wars fandom, they're real people. They're just in various cities. You just got to go to a meetup of some type. So
or con or something.
Yeah, exactly. I
had a regular time when I would run into people just at anything Star Wars related. I would run into the same like set of people just regularly. So it was like always like, go see you at the next thing. It doesn't matter what it's going to be. If it's, geeky or Star Wars related, we're likely to run into each other again.
Yeah. And that's all that matters. It's like I have people in different places like you guys across the country that I am closer to right now than people I've been friends with for years. And sometimes it's just the way life is,
I've seen you
ebbs and flows.
3 times this year now. We had Celebration, San Diego Comic-Con, and then Rhode Island Comic-Con. Oh, in New York.
So 4 times. 4 times.
It's amazing. And I have friends who live in Manhattan who I have not seen all year. It's that kind of thing. Which that's why I love the convention so much. And that should also be on our list in general. Like Celebration was a blast. San Diego Comic-Con was awesome. New York Comic-Con was great. Rhode Island Comic-Con was is always awesome, but like if you've never been. So anyone who's on the East Coast area, if you were able to make it to Rhode Island Comic-Con, do yourself a favor. It's not that expensive. It's a low-key convention.
Hotels are all around it.
Yeah, it's always a blast. And it is one of those like secret gems. This year, I think there were like 15 Star Wars guests. It was out of control.
It was a heavy list. Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. Like, they brought in some good names too. We met Keone Young, which was great.
He was such a sweetheart.
So
my
nice.
God.
I think we've mentioned that on every episode since we did the show. Ever since November, everyone's like, we know you met him.
We know all about Keone.
Love him.
He was terrific. Okay, so back to where were we? We were in Tales of the Jedi. So I love the Dooku episodes. Jeff, what did you think of Tales of the Jedi?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. Where the Ahsoka stuff, I mean, when people talk filler all the time, it sort of felt more like filler. It might have been more filler for people that weren't as in depth or familiar as you say are, and Ashley, that know there's a parallel set of her story that's in book form or whatever, and so don't have the problem with that already being established, but it was a less interesting arc, I'd say, for sure. Although there was some badass moments in her episodes, but the Dooku stuff I think was more revelatory, and something that was probably more necessary to the overall saga kind of story.
Good character building for him, because we didn't get his backstory really. There is a book.
Yeah, you got little bits and pieces of him, and it's like you heard that he was this Padawan or that master or whatever, but you never really saw or felt that, because he was always this sort of version of a Sith that you weren't as familiar with as well, where he's Dracula and freaking with a lightsaber. That's the way Christopher Lee, you can't escape.
He's Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So just that alone was badass. But yeah, anyways,
but it gave him some humanity.
Right. It definitely, and it filled in his story. So you get a little bit more of his reasoning and understanding as to why he did what he did ultimately, and ended up getting his head chopped off. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen episode 2 or 3, whatever it was, I can't remember how long ago. 2, that's what I thought. Anyway, so I really got more enjoyment out of those 3 episodes. Also, they take place concurrently, or not concurrently, but in succession, versus the Ahsoka stuff. You start off with her if you're watching the episodes in order, which is not necessary, but if you watch them, and they
one is Ahsoka, 2, 3, 4 Dooku, 5 and 6 are Ahsoka.
Right. So the way they jump around with the Ahsoka story, kind of you have a huge gap of what's already been established with Clone Wars and Rebels and all the books and everything. So it's a little bit more fragmented, but it was great to see Dooku kind of sort of age, him and Qui-Gon as well, which was really kind of cool.
Young Qui-Gon was good too.
That was Liam's son.
Right, having his son voice him was really a cool kind of
Michael Richardson.
Idea. Yeah, and then him voicing he voiced the older version, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then having cool. the stuff taking place right basically as things in episode 1 were occurring.
He looks enough like his father that if they ever did Qui-Gon in live action as a younger Padawan, he could totally do it.
That's cool.
Totally do it.
So. Yeah. I'm going to agree with Sarah real quick on it just contradicts the Ahsoka book. That's my biggest issue with the Ahsoka episodes. Yeah. And that was episode 6. So I made it through all 5 and I was like, 1 was okay. 2, 3, 4 and were great. 5 was okay. And then 6 just made me angry. So it left me on that last moment.
It ended on a bad note. It
really did. It really went from it's that roller coaster we were talking about. Summer 2016 and then the rest
Mike
of our
agrees
lives,
with you guys.
Right down. It's the kind of thing where I think I don't know what's happening with Ahsoka in that there's retcon after retcon coming in various forms, or the Ahsoka book in particular seems to be one that's getting contradicted. But that regardless of that, I think the Tales of the Jedi is a great idea. I want more of them. I want more Jedi. I want to see
having that animation
Jedi.
Style return is great.
Yeah, it's very cool. It reminded me of the 2D Clone Wars a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not as expensive.
Oh yeah, talked about people. I heard rumblings that if they could do a Tales of the Sith, or Tales of the Bounty Hunters, or who knows, whatever.
Yeah, Tales of everyone. That's the kind of content that I think is interesting, because
it can just be the Tales series. It's it's so many options.
Don't overthink it. I think this is the kind of thing where I remember those cartoons. Droids and Ewoks are what got me into this franchise. Back in '85.
I know.
So I think even though it didn't work for me fully, I think Tales of the Jedi is an interesting experiment, and I think there could be a lot more of them. And I think this has legs. I think the Dooku episodes prove that you can tell a really compelling story, and you can also fill in some plot holes without them feeling like you're filling in plot holes. People forget
what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Like Yaddle not being at the funeral at the end of episode 1 is because she's missing for no reason. Just I think it's bad writing from episode 1 that they just forgot about her, or they didn't want to put the puppet in a different room. And so because of that, maybe she's guarding the temple. Who knows? There's any number of reasons. But now they gave her a full backstory. They added some character to her. Bryce Dallas Howard is now in universe as an actor, not just a director, just a director, but like she's credited as an in-universe character now, which is cool. And Yaddle's cool now. I love Yaddle. Yeah, Team Yaddle, Team Amperu. Who knew all these like secondary like female characters that we never knew anything about like are getting all this screen time? That's cool.
Sarah, I trust Dave enough to guide Ahsoka into the right direction, especially if he's going to have actual Rebels characters involved. I think it'll be telling the continuation of Rebels that he wanted to tell. So he'll stay as true to Ahsoka as he can. And, you know, if he's show running this, if he's not just writing, but he's actually show running this as he has been, it's not anybody else touching his baby. He'll do great with it. So.
Yeah. We're going to jump to that in a few minutes. By the way, we have one last thing we need to cover for 2022, and that's Andor. I know we could do a whole show on this. I want to hit two very quick things. One, if you've not seen Andor, I think it's the smartest, most interesting, most currently relevant show happening in Star Wars right now. The banality of evil, just like the way that authoritarianism and fascism grows in like the most boring way possible. And yet, like, you know, what it takes everyday people to stand up and fight for their rights. Mon Mothma, played by Genevieve O'Reilly, is a revelation. That character has never been better. Denise Go as Deirdre is incredible, and I'm obsessed with Cyril, the worst man baby of all time. Like, I think that like, and by the way, Cassian, like Diego himself, holds it all together in a way that like he is leading man status that you did not know. Like, he was so good. The show, I can't say enough good things about it. It's by far my favorite Star Wars project of the year.
That Golden Globe was like so earned. That nomination is top tier Star Wars. So good.
Andy Serkis. Oh my God, the emotional beats, the fact that he couldn't swim, man, like.
So he was talking in an interview, Andy Serkis, and when they were filming, like, he's like, that place is like surgically clean. We're walking around on metal floors barefoot. We're like practicing, like we're stuck in this regimen. And he's like, after a while, you just get in that mindset, and it really feels like you're in a prison, and you just can't help but have that hopeless mentality. So when we were all riled up at the end, we were riled up for a reason, because it's like, oh my God, we're free from this.
Yeah, like I want my shoes.
But like to have that thought in your head and be in those prison uniforms and be barefoot and be like, oh, the floor is lava, don't step on the floor, kind of thing. And have that go on for weeks at a time while you're filming, it just gets into your brain internally. And so it was just cool to hear like, oh, it's more than just a paycheck for him. Like he's really emoting in this. So definitely check out Andor if you haven't already.
What was if you had to label one favorite part, what's your favorite?
Oh boy.
It's hard to pick, right?
It's really hard to pick. I absolutely loved when Cassian is escaping and he's listening to the manifesto, and it's kind of like shaping the Cassian to come. And you hear his words. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name right now. Oh my God, it's horrible. The young man.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
Sorry, there were just so many awesome characters. But he's listening to his manifesto, and you're hearing his words, and you're like, wow, that is like incredibly succinct for a young man who's just trying to survive and do what he can in the rebellion. And it's cool to see how those words are shaping him now and pushing him forward. And I really hope they play more of it in season 2, because I kind of want to hear what's going on. Like if they could put it out online somewhere, that'd be even cooler. Or even in a book form, I would totally read that.
If they can monetize it, they'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. And another favorite thing was Mon Mothma, like totally being strategic, and she, at the expense of her family, like it just gets to a point where she's like, I have nothing left to lose. My family is already just like falling apart at the seams. I have to do something and it's got to be credible. And this is like the boldest move ever to like blame my husband for my for my banking indiscretions. But it just goes to show you that she is willing to sacrifice everything at this point because nobody is listening to her in the pulpit at the Senate.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking to hear. It's
So bad.
Nemic.
Nemic.
His manifesto. Yeah.
That's it.
Jeff, what's your favorite part
Well,
of?
I'm gonna go the other way. I have one or two issues. Oh, but otherwise, I really enjoyed it. But my first thing is you're talking about the scene with Andy and them escaping the prison. The first thing I would have done once I had breached that first group of security guards is put on those damn boots. I don't want the possibility that the power comes back in any form or fashion, even for a split second. I want to have that protection. So that was bugging me the entire run of that part of that episode until they jump out the fair
thing. Can I add to that real quick?
Yeah,
I would have shot those other guys. The remaining guards, I would have killed them. Yeah, there's no
survivors.
The glaring lack of alien species, because I know Mike mentioned earlier that he loved the aliens. I don't know if it was in Boba Fett or Obi-Wan, but both of those had a good amount of alien species. And
Mike Quinn did
Andor
a really
was
good job.
Really short.
Being those fishermen.
Oh yeah, they were fun. The ones that did turn up,
yeah,
they were great. But there was, it was very humanoid heavy.
Yeah.
So it kind of that I think, I don't know if that made it seem less Star Warsy or not, but that was one of the other things that kind of bugged me. But I loved like you're talking about Mon Mothma and how heavy some of what she was dealing with was, and you really felt that they sat on things and let you just sort of simmer on how they were feeling, and the monologues that she threw out, that Luthen threw out, that Andor threw out, that Marva threw out.
Marva
getting the F the Empire in the chat. So
fight the Empire.
And B broke my heart.
Yeah.
So it was amazing overall. Just there was a couple things that I was a little disappointed with, but they're minor compared to how great it was. So
yeah.
I'm seeing Sarah's quote.
Shoot the guards.
Yes, I'm glad we agree, Sarah. Jeff, I think you're right that the picks on Andor are very nitpicks, right? It's very much like we love the whole thing and here are little things here and there throughout. I had a few of those too, where I'm like, you know what, if they had just done this tiny bit, and one was like, you almost need to be more brutal. I was like, when he shot those opening guys, I was like, yep, I'm in. I love where this is headed. And then they didn't kill the guards in the prison. I was like, are you kidding me? I would have.
He shot a couple of them, but he didn't.
You got to kill them all. I would have hunted for them more so than trying to get out. I would have been like, here's everyone take a gun or several. Can you carry two? Can we effectively fire two? You just have to start blasting, right?
Yeah. Running down the hallway chasing them.
Meanwhile, I'm so anti-gun in real life. I'm gonna look like a lunatic when they get that from that's gonna be the gift for the
sound bite.
Exactly. So I just start blasting. All right, so I think everyone in this chat, because you were with us throughout the Andor coverage, we did a full Andor recap. I think everyone knows how we feel about Andor. We talked about it every week during Rebels Revisited. We loved it. We're very ready for season 2. That's actually not on the 2023 docket, but there are some other great projects that are coming up for 2023. I just want to list them real quick, and then we'll get into the things that we are most excited about in each. I have the Ahsoka live action show, which is coming up probably after July. I guess let's go chronologically. Bad Batch season 2 starts January 4th, very soon. By the way, our next episode next week is our Bad Batch prediction show led by Ashley. I think I'm going to be in the little tub with Jeff as she just runs the show. So it's going to be all Ashley all next week.
Oh my gosh.
For Bad Batch madness. She's very excited.
I'm rewatching as we speak. I really am. I watched Aftermath last night. So I lied and said I was watching The Holiday until I fell asleep. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of can't sleep. And I know I have to be up early for work, but I don't care. I want to watch Aftermath. Yeah. And I'm sitting there Deepa Blaba. And
I do love Depa and Caleb. I will let you rewatch for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch. There's a recap video that I watched that was super helpful to remind me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you take the lead next week in a big way. I'm very excited about the Jedi Survivor video game that happens in March.
Oh my gosh.
That is gonna be. I think that's gonna be a surprise for anyone who doesn't remember.
Has anybody ordered the Cal Kestis updated lightsaber? Anybody?
What's the difference between that one and the one they put out before?
So the
Just
one
a little screw top handle, right?
Yeah. So basically, the Galaxy's Edge one has the unfinished, the broken part of the pommel.
So you can take off and attach another piece.
Yes, and you can attach two sabers together. The one that comes, it's like $300, and it comes with the deluxe game. It can fit those blades, but it's got a finished pommel on the end, so it looks like a little screw. It's not broken anymore. It's just it's finished. So that's like it comes in like a fancy long box and stuff like that. I don't know if it's cardboard.
The box designs are really cool, and a lot of them they play music a lot of the time, and they have that lush interior.
I don't know if it goes that far or if it's kind of like how the Darksaber is.
No, like more
with that
of the
cardboard box with the magnets on it. So, but it comes with like the deluxe version of the game with like all this downloadable content, and it doesn't come with the blade. It's just the updated saber. So it's basically the same thing. It's just a different pommel on the end of it. So
they figure that with the game coming out, because I bet you the gamer versus theme park overlap circle, like the Venn diagram, is not a perfect circle. In fact, I bet you it's far from it. And so they're probably looking at like who's ready for this game, which by the way, I am. I already said I'm ready to be terrible. I can't wait to play this game
willingly.
I'm all about Twitch and watching people who can play.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if there's anyone in the comments, I actually think this would be a good time to point out that we probably have some skilled people to Twitch, like in the Facebook group. If someone was going to do some watch-alongs and playthroughs for the VCN, like this might be the time to start recruiting. Like maybe even have someone do Jedi Fallen Order for the group as a reminder. Like that's a huge game. It's open world. The cutscenes are great. I love the story. I could watch the cutscenes like a movie. I said that last week.
That's what I've been doing.
I plan on doing that for Survivor when it comes out, because I love Cal. I love Cameron Monaghan. I love Deborah Wilson. I'm obsessed with her. I told you I got her to sign autographs for us, and the email came from her. I was like, I saved that email. She is very cool.
Frame it. Put on your wall. The internet is unreliable. Put it on your wall.
By the way, apparently there's a big Twitter breach. Not that anything's going right on Twitter. But like, reset your passwords if you haven't already deleted your Twitter. Anyway, that's coming out in March, but like not to be overshadowed. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a bit of like a fight. March is busy because Mando season 3 comes back in March. How the hell are we going to keep up with Mando season 3 and Jedi Fallen Order Part 2 in the same month, like the month before Celebration? It's going to be too much at the same time.
Bad Batch is still going at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, and everyone's going to stop paying attention to Bad Batch. It's going to
be. No, they're not.
Yeah. Well,
I will make them watch.
You will continue to watch, but like you're going to see the drop off. It's going to be a problem. Like it happened with Ms. Marvel. Unfortunately, it was on the same day when something else started, and like
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. There you go.
Shows,
but it was also geared more towards preteens and tweens.
Yeah.
So it was.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Oh yeah, it was really, really fun. But it's just the way of things. You got Obi-Wan Kenobi versus the tween show.
Yeah.
So it's not always going to line up, but they're both enjoyable. So
I really very different. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I think they should have saved the Grogu Mando reunion for season 3? Yes.
Yeah.
But
I agree, but also Boba Fett needed something to make it work. And I mean, look, I'm not above shoehorning in good content to save something that's struggling. And they took a big swing with that. Also hoping that it would pull in the Mando people. Once you found out Grogu was back, I bet you more people tuned into the finale.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, I'm sure it worked enough. And now, you know what? You just put it in the recap. Like there you go. You usually skip the recap at the beginning of season 3. They'll just put that in there. So it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mando season 3. By the way, we're going to do a whole thing on Jedi Survivor. We're going to do a whole thing on Mando season 3. Every new content stream that's coming, we will probably do a prediction show along with like a recap show once it's finally over. We'll figure out how to cover Jedi Survivor because we're going to have to watch the cutscenes. We're going to have to like absorb all the content. We'll see if there's anything Rebels related. If there's nothing, maybe we won't do a full recap. We'll figure it out. But assume March is going to be busy because with Mando season 3 coming back, we got a lot of returning faces who are Rebels adjacent, including our girl Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. Like that's straight up like a continuation of Rebels season 4 right there.
Oh yeah, I am so excited to see that. I'm really curious. I think we were discussing this last week, whether or not they make her a villain.
Yeah,
And
I think
she's,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm kind of leaning there.
And did you see on Twitter, and I did not generate this, but someone else did, and it was like some guy, it was a meme, some random blonde guy walking up to Obi-Wan Kenobi being like, oh, you know my aunt, I'm Corky Kryze.
Oh,
and
yes.
Like I willed it into the universe. I was like, what is this? Like I didn't know what happened. I was like, first of all, who the hell else remembers Corky Kryze other than me? I'm the president of the Corky Kryze fan club. This. I know it happened the very next day.
Fan club.
Yeah,
so
you know what it is?
He tweets me this picture. Oh my God, I have to show you guys because I was crying when I got the tweet on this.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, if Corky Kryze pops up in like the Ahsoka show, because she has scenes with him, or Mando season 3, or like I remember I thought he was gonna pop up in Obi-Wan. Like I had all these crazy theories.
Oh yeah,
like, there's gonna be live action Satine and it'll be autographed. Like
he's gonna be part of all your predictions.
Yes. Here's the thing:
until he shows up.
The Vegas odds are always going to be great because if it hits, I'm the only one. Like I'll make $1 million. Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
You're a hard man to find, Kenobi. Who are you? Removes helmets.
Yeah, Corky Kryze.
My name is Corky Kryze. You knew my aunt, Duchess Satine Kryze of Mandalore.
Yep.
He looks just like Obi-Wan.
That is, but it's like
he looks like Bradley Cooper. Is who he looks like.
It's like,
but like
Obi-Wan-esque.
There's a mystery sibling, I'm telling you, because he's the nephew of Satine Kryze and Bo-Katan Kryze. Or secret
he's
son.
a nephew.
Yeah.
And it's her secret son.
Of course, there's who's the missing sister or brother, or who do you or by the way, I have a lot of like fake aunts and uncles. I think I talked about this on the Dark
like my
Saber
mother's
show.
cousin. We always called aunt and uncles.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom and dad's good friends, so I call aunt and uncle. You could be that, but you know what? Because the royal bloodline, you wouldn't introduce yourself as the nephew of the president unless you really were. Like that's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and they kept calling him nephew. So I'm like, well, who died? Like, is there yet another dead sibling? So
stop killing off these Kryzes. Seriously, you guys.
It's a lot of them. So anyway, if Corky Kryze pops up, I'll lose my mind.
We'll hear him screaming, you guys. I promise you.
I already think 2023 is going to go my way because they just dropped the trailer for Doctor Who. And, we already know Donna Noble's coming back. Catherine Tate's my favorite companion. David Tennant is returning as the Doctor. It's going to be a whole big thing. And they explicitly said, like with David Tennant saying, Donna Noble cannot remember who I am or she's going to die, but destiny is headed for her. And this whole thing is about bringing Donna back. And then it's the two of them meeting up and there's scenes of them together. So they're going to resolve the unresolved issue of how he left her. And so I've been screaming for that since it happened like 15 years ago. And it's it's the loose thread in Doctor Who that I've been keeping tabs on as a fan of that era because it is my favorite season. And
I'm not a Whovian by any stretch of the imagination, but I did watch several of the Tennant episodes, and that one at her wedding
when the runaway bride.
But when he leaves her that money and her father or grandfather is like crying over it, like
that's Bernard Cribbins. Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, I'm like I don't even know who you guys are, and I'm punched in the feels. Like I don't. Yeah,
that was part of his farewell tour, and making sure all of his companions were taken care of. It seems like she might have a daughter with that guy, so that was actually her wedding and the coda to him leaving. But the first way he actually meets her is like she's running away from a wedding, so she was the runaway bride. That was the Christmas special, and then they brought her on as a companion after the fact. So it's amazing. Yeah. By the way, if no one here is a Whovian, I understand there's too many seasons and too many doctors and it's convoluted and complicated. When Tennant comes back as the next Doctor, tune in for that. It's a great restart period, and he's by far the best Doctor, and Catherine Tate is by far my favorite companion. Do yourself a favor, watch the 1 hour Christmas, whatever it's going to be. You can watch that and nothing else, and like you'll be great. So highly recommend. Yeah. The lottery. All right, Sarah, I didn't realize you were Whovian. We're gonna have a whole separate conversation on this. She's my new best friend over here. All right, so continuing in 2023. Oh, Jeff, what are you most excited about in Mando season 3?
That's a good question. Obviously, if they show Mandalore, any kind of flashbacks to the siege on Mandalore, how Gideon connects to Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something with how, more of how he got his hands on the Darksaber. But I think that the whole Mandalore and the resolution of who is the rightful Darksaber owner, King Mandalore, whatever, ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah,
I don't know. And then some Grogu. I love Grogu.
Yeah. Let's take our predictions now. Is it Grogu, Sabine Wren, because I think there's odds that she's coming, right? Bo-Katan Kryze, Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, Corky Kryze, who we have no confirmation he's coming. I know he's only on my list. Paz Vizsla, right? Gideon, or just some random dude. Hell, we could say Carl Weathers. Like you can pick anyone. So and I don't mean his character Grief. I mean Carl Weathers. Like anyone could rule Mandalore. You just gotta get the sword. Like go for it.
No, I think he's gonna have to, realize that he was part of a cult and how to make things right, and also like reassess everything he's ever known, but also do what's best by what's left of his people. Because if he's a true Mandalorian, maybe not in birth but in spirit, then he will do everything he can to protect these people. So do I think he's the ruler of Mandalore? Yes. Do I think he wants to be? I think it's like a Jon Snow scenario where it's like, I don't want to rule, but you guys keep forcing it on me. Yeah.
He has it now. He has the right. Yeah.
Spencer's comment that you left out the armor.
Yes, you're right. Emily Swallow.
Yeah.
I love her. I want to see her fight Bo-Katan more than anything else. I want those two ladies to destroy each other in the best way, because they'll put on a show. Like it is Sasha versus Bailey, NXT Brooklyn. Like they will burn the place down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think ultimately, like, Bo-Katan will have to see that it's not by blood, it's not ruling families, it's the warrior spirit. And I think that's something that they'll get across. And I love Bo-Katan. I love the armor. That's the way I think it's gonna go. I'm sorry.
I have another dark horse candidate in all this. The Darksaber gets destroyed or lost, and no one has it. It's missing the field goal, right? Like if you think about like who's gonna win the game, who misses the field goal? The saber's gone. Well, you got to throw that in the mix, right? Like it gets destroyed, thrown into a volcano, lost underwater.
The Night Sisters come after it again.
Sure. Look, anyone can do. Palpatine returned. You know what I mean? Like anything. So I think that could be interesting. By the way, I'm looking at the time. I know we're over. Let's do 5 more minutes and just hit the high notes on the other stuff that's coming. Because we still have Skeleton Crew. And
love Jude Law. Sorry, guys.
Ahsoka, and then Celebration, and that's really it. And I guess another season of the anime thing. Visions.
Yes.
So that's what we know. All right. So Mando season 3, I think we're all super pumped about, and we think is going to connect to Rebels in a big way, and will obviously connect to the Ahsoka live action show. What the hell will Skeleton Crew do? Do we know a thing about a thing? Like, I don't know anything that's happening.
I think we have to find out at Celebration. But yeah. Star Wars, Indiana Star Wars Jones.
The young Han Solo and Chewbacca Chronicles.
Well, there's no young Lando coming. Remember they announced that shit 5 years ago? They didn't even have Donald. I was like, well, who's playing him? I was so mad. I was so angry. I was like, this is going nowhere. But I think Skeleton Crew could be interesting because if it is set in the New Republic time period, which is where we're trying to build out like a series over here, more content is better. I feel like we've closed the book on the Book of Boba Fett, and Mando seems like it's coming to some type of organic close. Ahsoka apparently is going to maybe time travel through World Between Worlds, so it might not just be in that same time period. And if Skeleton Crew is going to go beyond the reaches of our known universe, supposedly, like that could be really interesting. It's going to go out, not so much as like, across different times, maybe that's where you connect with Thrawn or whatever else. And we don't know who Jude Law is, but look, he could be Corky Kryze, honestly. I don't know, but like
I swear to God, I swear to God.
Like,
can you imagine?
Right? Like that. Well, how stupid would that be to cast someone so famous for a character that no one knows? Like that would be dumb. But like it's the kind of thing where
this whole group seems to be. I mean, as far as I can tell, these are characters no one knows. So
yeah. They all supposed to be unknowns. Which
it's probably tied into like the time period of like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. Like
Spencer's saying High Republic, but
oh, okay.
Unless he's talking about something else.
So I think the cartoon, or not the cartoon, I'm sorry, the Acolyte is going to be set near High Republic.
Yeah, that one is.
I think Skeleton Crew is supposed to be in the New Republic, right? Which is Mando time period.
Oh, the New Republic.
Yeah. But like I do think there's more content coming in aside like where the Bad Batch lives, like that early part of the Empire, like that start of the Age of Rebellion kind of thing, like before Episode 4, the in between of 3 and 4, which has a decent amount of content currently, but I think there's more coming. But Skeleton Crew, I think, is between 6 and 7, which is it's 30 years, which is a good amount of time, and we've already had numerous shows there. But like, a lot can happen. What I still want to manifest, and I'm going to put it out there for 2023. We need to see Mon Mothma win the war and Mas Amedda surrender the Empire to her on her home planet of Chandrila under the tree. Like someone needs to put that on film. So
make it happen.
I think it'll be more about like after Andor ends, because we still have her going in Andor, and we need Genevieve. So just sequentially from production, it would make sense to do it later. But like, anyway, I want that. I'm going to manifest that. And then the only other thing coming in 2023, we talked about Bad Batch season 2, which again, tune in next week. Bad Batch season 2 full prediction show, and a little bit of recap of season 1. We've got Jedi Survivor, we've got Mando season 3, we've got Skeleton Crew, and we've got another season of Visions, which if you love animation, that first Visions was really cool. This one's not just anime, it's going to be all sorts of other art styles. So
and there's also Visions comics, like they're doing like a little continuation story of like the Jedi, and I guess they're doing it like story by story, like little like standalone comics based on that. So it's cool to read. And it's done by some awesome manga artists. So
that's gonna be checking out. That's gonna be. Yeah, I was gonna say like, there's a lot of publishing happening. I know all the High Republic stuff's supposed to be great. That would be cool to see in like manga form. But would be Visions because the artwork is stunning. It's just single issue
comics right now.
Yeah.
I think they put out the first one right now, and I'm not sure if they're gonna stay in that Jedi from the very first episode, or if they're going to branch out to the others as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think that covers it. I mean, we made it through. We're a little over an hour. Not bad.
We have also, Spencer asked me to talk about the new shirts on TeePublic.
Yes.
And all designs are discounted right now for the next day. Ooh. So don't miss out if you want to get some awesome VCN content shirts. We got our Rebels Revisited shirts.
Neither of us are wearing tonight.
Yes, we're terrible hosts. But there's so much good stuff. Virtual Cantina t-shirts, hats. Yep. All the new Bunta Eve stuff is on there. Yeah.
That's right. All the new stuff went live.
This is something else, but
I gotta get me some Bunta swag.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of swag being released, a lot of different things, shirt designs, and then some of those are in different forms. Magnets, patches, pins, stickers. So keep an eye out for that. And if you buy tickets, go on sale very soon for D4, and if you get a ticket, it includes a swag bag, which is pretty heavy on some cool swag. So it's definitely a selling point. Besides, you get an entry and a drink ticket.
Oh, look at that!
It is you get a lot of value for that. Those pounds that you're spending.
And you must be knocking back some drinks in the pub for me, because
for all of us.
It'll be for us here on Rebels Revisited, because
I think we're going to be the home base. We're going to be Celebration America, Team America. Fuck
Celebration stateside.
Celebration stateside. Oh, I love that. We'll have to do. So what we need to do is like while Celebration is happening, connect and do like a little news. We should do this shit for like news beats each day, like Celebration Day 1, almost like the Star Wars show live. Like we'll have to figure something out.
Maybe
overcommitting ourselves.
Stuff. That's an interesting idea.
What do the British people call us Americans?
Oh, colonists? Yeah.
No, was it the colonists?
Yanks.
The colonies.
Yeah, we are the colonies.
We are insurrectionists, according to them. So, by the way, that Leia stamp design, Sherry, you're right on that. The Leia stamp is killer.
So killer.
Yeah. So let's
so much good stuff, you guys. So
we will
to
figure out a
right
celebration plan. Yes, if you're going to if you're going to Celebration, go to Boonta. Buy your ticket, get your swag. Also, this Thursday, tune in for the Thursday night watch along. Jeff, tell them who the special guest is. I know you guys have a guest for this week.
So this week for episode, I believe it's episode or chapter 12 of Mandalorian, season 2, episode 4, featuring principal actor Barry Lowen, who was very much in the Mando suit for season 2, I believe, or season 1. I don't know. Okay, anyway, this is season 2, so he's definitely in it for this season, and he does other characters as well. But he has a very kind of, you can kind of, if you're really aware of the differences between the actors that are in the suit, you can say there's Barry, there's Pedro, there's Brendan, there's Lateef. So he does fall into that where you can kind of identify who he is at certain times.
He's the Mandalorian, along with the other 5 guys.
The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, so that's amazing. That's going to be so cool. And then I think there's one other bit of news. Are we talking about it yet for New Year's Day?
Which bit is that? The release? Oh no, I don't think it's been officially put down as an event, but although we are definitely talking about it amongst ourselves. Okay. So
I'm assuming there'll be an announcement on Thursday then.
I would say that would have to be when it would happen.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a text message or I should have checked this beforehand.
I didn't see anything to tout that. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, keep an eye on New Year's Day.
And announcements would happen before then. So
I'm probably on the Thursday show. So everyone tune into the Thursday show and wait for something related to a New Year's Day announcement. I guess is the we're announcing that there's going to be an announcement. We're going to have a press conference. Yeah, exactly. So it'll be a fun way to ring in the new year.
We are Iron Man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
It was announced. Spencer says, "Okay, so then we can talk about it."
Oh, okay. All right. Well, join us on
how much we pay attention.
Spencer, I didn't see this announcement. This is everyone's fault but mine.
My brain.
So I'm gonna join us New Year's Day at I believe 11 a.m. Eastern as a start time, nice and early. For a 2022 recap and 2023 looking forward for all things Star Wars. And it's going to be with all of the various hosts from across the VCN. Jeff will be there, Spencer, Dave, me, Ashley, the other shows. I forget who's popping in so far. I think Catherine's going to be there. I'm not sure of who else, but we have a giant group thread that I've barely kept up with.
Be everybody that you see regularly on camera.
Yeah,
for our different shows should be
Spencer
there.
Is making sure we know it was announced.
It was announced. Thanks, Spencer.
It was announced.
All right, great.
So some of us will be a little bit more worse for wear considering the time differences, but
I didn't think of that. 11 a.m. is not bad for me. I'll be showered.
8 a.m. over here. Thank you very much. So
that's terrible.
Myself, Mike, Catherine, anybody else that does the East or the West Coast thing would be more adversely affected depending on how our New Year's Eve goes.
I don't know what we're doing yet, but I'd like to have some people over. That's been the conversation of who's who may host the New Year's party. But yeah, that'll be really fun.
That's why I wish I lived closer because I'd be
come on down. Yeah, swing on in.
Anyway,
we will help you ring in your new year with some 2022 recap and more importantly 2023 looking forward. So I know we just did it here for our show with our year, but imagine now all the hosts weighing in on everything that has happened. And I assume it's going to cut across all different forms of media because the Jedi Archives team talks about the books, which I am not up to speed on. So I need their recommendations on what to read and what to keep up with and what to catch up on. And there are other people with different forms of expertise throughout the fandom. There are better gamers than me in this channel. And in fact, I would love to have someone take the lead on doing something for Jedi Survivor, mostly because I want the content as a content viewer,
yes, please.
But I cannot create that content. I will be no help. So it's the kind of thing where I will watch
put it out into the universe.
Put it into the universe. Who knows how to game? Someone help.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. So anyway, we do want to sign off now because I know we're way over time, but did want to wish everyone happy holidays. I know Hanukkah just ended, Christmas just ended, but
Boxing
happy
Day just
holidays.
ended.
Yeah, we're right at the end of it. But happy New Year. Thank
Kwanzaa.
you for spending Kwanzaa's today. All the holidays, but happy New Year, and thank you for spending part of your 2022 with us. We really appreciate it. This has been a wonderful 6+ months for me and Jeff and Ashley. We've had a great time.
Such a great time, and we're so lucky to have you guys, and so lucky to have
be
the
at the
two of you.
7-month point almost. I mean, this episode or next episode is definitely
flies. So. Yeah. Well, and thank you, Jeff, for producing our show, and for Spencer for making this happen, and for everyone on the VCN for being so supportive of us.
And our watchers.
Everyone watches and joins with us every week.
So fun every week.
Yeah, giving us show ideas and letting us find our voice on the channel too, figuring out how we were going to handle a recap show of a show that's not on the air anymore. A little different, a little weird. Thanks for indulging us on Monday nights, to start your week with us. We really appreciate all of that.
Yeah.
It's been great to see the connections though. So
yeah,
it definitely makes it a valuable resource, I feel, sitting behind the scenes most of the time, just sort of enjoying what you guys have to say.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try to connect to the current stuff, the revisited, as it were, and we have so much more of that planned for 23. Oh man, when the Ahsoka show hits, I feel like our brains are going to explode.
Oh my god, yeah. I couldn't even handle the footage at Celebration, and you're going to put me through actual full shows. No.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. All right, well, on that note, happy. Oh my god, I didn't put on my glasses. Damn it.
Oh,
I had glasses and everything.
Check this out,
I'll
you
save
guys.
them for join us on Monday, on New Year's.
I love it.
You'll have to wear those on New Year's during the whole show.
Yeah, whole show. I made myself a hot chocolate in my little villain's cup, but I'll have champagne for New Year's.
Nice.
So with that, happy New Year, everyone, and we'll see you Thursday for the watch along. New Year's Day show at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then next Monday we'll be back for our Bad Batch extravaganza. Where I'm just going to sit there and let Ashley talk for an hour and a half. It'll be awesome.
Thank you, guys. Happy New Year. May the force be with you.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye.